April the 26th, shrubs. Shrubs continuing to flower from last month include blackthorn, gorse, camellias, maholias, viburnum forsythia, caria spirea, ribes phorolopsis, and cinnamomylles. On open commons, gorse is now joined by another yellow flowery shrub, broom, Sitaisis scoparius. One or two other naturalized shrubs from gardens occasionally join them, for example snowberry and some barberries. Wild barberry, Berberis vulgaris, is now rare, as it was removed from the countryside a long time ago because it carried a fungal rust that destroyed corn crops. It is still grown in gardens, however, and occasionally turns up self-sown. If the lower part of the stamen in its flower is touched with a pencil, the anther moves and hits the stigma like a hammer. Later, the red fruits are edible and are rich in vitamin C, but if enough are eaten when green, they're poisonous, causing the breathing rate to be reduced. In woods in the southeast of London, the strange 1 metre high spurge laurel, Daphne laureola, still has flowers with their strange scent of smouldering wood. In gardens, new shrubs starting to make an appearance include Sitaisis, Genistus, Coronilla medicago, Coisia olearia, and new varieties of Camellia, Azalea, Rhododendron, Berberis, and Pieris. Some Pieris species can grow as tall as trees and can provide quite a show of their own with their lily-of-the-valley flowers. For example, Pieris formosa forestii. This tree grows up to 6 meters high Q and is often covered in flowers. Berberis darwinii, Prunus laurocerasus, and are all very common in London gardens. There are over 100 different varieties of Ceanothus, including both spring and autumn flowering species. They present an interesting range of blues, some of which almost seem to glow. Ceanothus arboreus Torriden blue is one of the longest to flower in the spring. Ceanothus concha is one of the most floriferous, and Ceanothus papillosus variety Roanus, one of the most popular. Climbing shrubs such as wisteria, new clematis, and various honeysuckles are also appearing. More rarely, the strange green pipe-shaped flowers of the Victorian favourite, Dutchman's pipe, Aristolochia macrophylla, may be seen. Early yellow roses that stand out are canary bird and Rosa Banksii lutea, which may be 6 meters high and covered in roses this month. Viburnum, osmanthus, ribes, and coisia are among the more aromatic shrubs to be seen now. A small hedge of the highly perfumed osmanthus can be found at Hampton Court on the perimeter of the Arboretum. Other rarer shrubs that may be encountered in plant collections are Coleonema, Diosma, Staphylia, and some of the more unusual Pittosporums. The most noticed shrubs this month have to be the camellias. Some grow as high as small trees and are now covered in large red, white, or pink flowers. About half of the cultivated varieties we see are various hybrids and forms of Camellia japonica. This shrub still grows wild in Japan and was probably revered and cultivated there for 1,000 years before it reached London in the early 18th century. It was only 1814 that it was realized it could be happily grown outside, at which point the breeders started improving it. In the 1840s, camellias reached the peak of their popularity. A little later, Alexandre Dumas wrote La Dame aux Camellias, modelled on Alphonsine du Plessis, the famous Parisian courtesan. His heroine wore white camellias for 25 days in the month and red ones for 5. Since the mid-19th century, breeders around the world have produced the vast number of different Camellia japonicas we see in London's private gardens. The most famous camellia nursery in America is Nuccio's on the outskirts of Los Angeles. They are famous for breeding flowers that have numerous pointed petals that overlap into a perfect correct geometric spiral. Camellias with compass-precise petal arrangements are often seen in paintings, but are extremely rare in gardens. They nearly always have some slight imperfection. However, thanks to Nuccio's expertise, just occasionally some of their varieties, for example Nuccio's Gem, produce a flower which has a completely perfect spiral whorl arrangement of petals. April is not a berry month, but in gardens bright red berries can still be seen on spotted laurels, occasionally on butcher's broom, and even some hollies. In many woods and gardens, the vermilion berries of the gladden-iris are also still noticeable. One tree notorious for keeping its berries is the tree cotoneaster. It has quite a number of different hybrids, with seemingly completely unpalatable scarlet berries. They may still be covering the trees throughout April, having been totally ignored by all of London's hungry birds throughout the whole winter.